Royalties. Today Kshitij sir will be taking a webinar on food standards and safety compliances, and he'll start in next 5 minutes. Please kindly wait for 2-3 minutes. Let him start the session.
Hello.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, ma'am.
So you can take over the session now.
Sure. Thank you so much. So today we will be discussing about food compliances, like what are the food standard and safety compliances. Okay. So most of the people who are planning to start the business, or they already have their family business and they want to expand that particular business, if that is related to food, or if someone is going for a job, so this will be necessity you to know or have knowledge about this thing. Okay, because safety is the biggest matter in today's time. Because if you see, even you want a safe food and food security, that you are getting a best quality, you want to eat the best, right? Everyone want to eat, but we have to make a trust, and we like have to advertise ourselves that we follow the best hygiene and manufacturing practices. So how will you do that? And how government implement that things to us to follow, being a food manufacturer. So we will be discussing about all that things. So now we will start with the presentation on the same. So basically, why are we talking about this today? Because during the COVID pandemic also, this is the biggest concern that we need to follow. Like it is a necessity in today's life, because the adulteration part is also increasing in our daily lives, and it's has to be stopped. And we actually want to stop this. So let's start with the presentation. What are the major points? How can we do that? And what are the hidden points which can be only be analyzed by the so is my presentation visible, Varsha ma'am? Varsha ma'am? Varsha ma'am, is my presentation visible? So I hope it is visible. So let's start the session. So food safety and standard compliances in India. And I am Kshitij Bagla, heading QC and QA department at Elemento Agro Foods Private Limited. Previously done my masters from Uttaranchal University and teach competitive exams for food technology. So this is me, and today we'll be studying about Food Safety and Standards Act 2006, which is the act in India. So basically, if we are talking about food safety, so what do you mean by food safety actually? Ensurance that the food is acceptable for human consumption according to its intended use. So it should be for the particular use, and it should be at like best quality. Okay. So food safety management system means the adoption of good manufacturing practices, good hygiene practices, hazard analysis, critical control point. If the hazard is arise, so how will you stop that? Okay. So these are the some policies. So we have to follow, and we get the certification for the same also from the certifying agencies. Okay, this build trust between the consumers and our, and if some wholesaler or some manufacturer, or if we are doing a third party manufacturing, so these certifications are essential to make a trust between the businesses. So it will again help you to gain the business also. So we'll be discussing about some of these practice as may specified by the regulation for the food business. Okay, so this is ISO 2000, 22,000, that is the food safety management system. Okay, it certify you for the particular food that you are, their particular audit for this, that you are following the compliances of this ISO 22,000. Okay, their particular audits are there, and internal audits are also conducted. So it includes the good manufacturing practices, good hygiene practices, and hazard analysis control, critical control point. So everyone is related to that only. So FSSC is food safety system certification. So that is new in the version 5.1 is the latest version which is going on right now in the industry, and the versions carry over, and issues are also carry over. And good manufacturing practices and HACCP certification. So these certifications are given by the particular body, the agency, the certification body, which is certified by FSSAI. Okay, so you have to apply for it, and the audit will be conducted, and you can get the certification. If the compliances are, or you will get the CAPA, and you have to fulfill that, and then you will get the certification. So, what is FSMS as per FSSAI, Food Safety Management System? The Food Safety Management System means that adoption of good manufacturing practices, good hygiene practices, hazard control, and such practices. Okay, and this is defined as per Food Safety Standards Act 2006. Okay, that is the act we are following in India. And if you talk about international act, that is Codex Alimentarius. Okay, and it is a Latin word. It means food codes or food law. For international law, if someone want to export, then they can see that particular codex. Okay. So we will be talking about food safety hazard. So what are the basic hazard in the industry? So biological, chemical, and physical agents in food or condition of food which potentially cause the adverse health effect. So anything causing the health effects are basically hazards in normal language. So what can be there? So they are bacteria, viruses. If we talk about biological, parasites, molds. If you consume if the bread is with molds and you consume it, that's the hazard. You will get a gut problem. Okay. And if you are consuming chemical hazard, that is processing chemicals, then also they cause allergies. The drug residues means when you are giving antibiotics to the chicken or for the egg production, that is a drug residue. Okay. Or for the animal, for the meat we are talking about. Okay. And allergens, we will talk about later on in the other slides. And pesticides. And pesticide residue is the major concern in India. Actually, 51% of the food in India, what you are consuming, has pesticide residue. That is the latest stats. Okay. Now, if we talk about physical, that is the natural present, bones, pits, bugs are the natural physical hazard. And if we talk about the handling and processing material, that is glass, metal, or hairs, which go inside the food while processing. Okay, or any plastic, anything which can be introduced during the process. So these are the physical hazard: fingernails, bone, jewelry pieces, metal, shaving cans, and blades, plastic films, lens, thread, band-aids, BD, gutka packets. Right? You have to do the sorting, and you can eliminate it very easily. So that is not a main concern further, but chemical is the main concern in India right now. So every year we are introducing new laws or new regulations which is adopted by the international. We are basically we are in the harmony with the international law. It is going on right now. So natural occurring and process induced chemicals, okay, which are used during the process. So that may be hazard. If for the example, like let's say if you are using a refined oil, right? The hexane is used in the chemical hexane. The compound is used in the refinery to refine the vegetable oil. So when the vegetable is refined, you have to eliminate that thing, hexane. So you have to do hexane residue over there in the refined. But if the hexane is there, then how it can affect you? That is organic chemical. That is toxic for you, and uh, it rancid the oil faster and increase the smoke point and fire point. That what you like oil you are using, that will go bad early. If you are using, if you are making 100 pudis out of 1 liter oil, so you will be able to make only 80 pudis because it's gonna be black. The smoking point increases it, like the fat, like it burns faster. Okay, so we were talking about toxic metals, lead, and if you know the scenario of 2000, in 2016 about Maggie, the lead was found, so it was in the water. Okay, so you have to do water analysis for the from the what the source. The hiccup was done. What was the source? Source was water. Okay, so water plant was like removed and new plant was installed in the factory, but the recall system was done because of the lead. That was a loss for the company. So we have to keep a check on the hazards. Okay, now pesticides. If you are having, if you are taking the every food, if you talk about vegetarian thing, so everything in every plant there is somewhat pesticide is there. So how much pesticide is left in the food or fruit or anything that we are using? So that should be under the limits. That limits are given in the act, so you can see that. And the cleaning products, sanitizers. If you are using the any sanitizer or cleaning agent for the cleaning our equipment, that should be not left behind. Washing should be proper. Equipment lubricants, chemical food additives. The limits are given by the FSSAI. The food additive should be in the limits. Preservative should be in the limits. Okay, if you consume over limits of the food additives, that may harm your body. Okay, packaging material should be like the residues from the packing should be eliminated. Like you are using chemical adhesives also, and many things that should be packaging should be of good quality. No leaching should be there. The adulteration with other oils or mineral oils should be eliminated. So natural occurring, that is allergens. Okay, and mycotoxin. Mycotoxin, everyone may be aware of this. The fungus or fungi or molds, yeast has they release toxins which are called mycotoxin. For example, aflatoxin, B1, M1, B2. That's it. Allergens are somewhat same. Okay, so biohazards. Everyone knows about biohazard, right? You have did this in your course also. So biological hazards are organism or substance which causes food illness. Okay, foodborne infection can be there. Foodborne intoxication can be there. Foodborne toxins can be there, which somewhat cause a harmful effect to your body. So now we have to eliminate the condition favoring growth of microorganism. That is the main concern. Okay, that you have biological hazard, but it will only be introduced to the food if these points are not taken care of. Okay, so foodborne microorganisms, so nutrients from potassium hazard foods. Okay, so it should be eliminated because it draws the nutrients. Okay, they consume the nutrients. So acidity should be regulated. If you are just for the example in home you're doing it, so you have onions, right? If your onions are left out, your small onion you go put in the vinegar, so that is a pickle kind of a thing. So acidity is increased, so it will be preserved. So you can preserve it or oil or anything like that, but you're doing it right. So you can do it with other measures also. So in processed food, we for the regulating the acidity, we use food additives called citric acid or tartic acid. Just acids, we use it. Okay, or vinegar also we do use. Okay, and the temperature, the 5 degree to 60 degrees is a danger zone. So this processing temperature should be eliminated. Okay, if you are going for the frozen thing, then it will be below 5 degrees. Your refrigerator temperature is 4 degrees, right? Or minus 18 degree for the Fahrenheit for your freezers, right? So you have to eliminate this point. The best example for this, go to the YouTube, see the Taj Kitchen. Okay, the Taj Kitchen, which produces the food for airlines. Okay, that's the best example. It will give you the whole idea for that, and is the best to see if you are a food technologist. Okay, now the time, sufficient time to grow. Okay, so shelf life should be decided on the time. Okay, the oxygen, yeah, you introduce nitrogen to eliminate the oxygen. Okay, if you're going for the packaged food, if you talk about the chips, which gets rancid, like, so we eliminate oxygen, and in removing the oxygen, that result in lower rancidity of the oil food also. Okay, fried food basically. So removing oxygen does that all. Okay, put in the nitrogen and oxygen level will be lower in that. We can check it by the instrument, that's all. And moisture. There are two moisture aspects. Moisture, you check the moisture content, or if you are talking about microbial growth, so water activity is the main concern. Okay. Now we are talking about allergens. So allergens, that is the main concern. If you see on the packets, it is written the milk, a peanut, soybean, fish. So main, like, people are allergen from this, the gluten, sulfites. Sulfites concentration should be 10 ppm, that is 10 mg per kg, or okay, that is the limit for that. So these are the main allergens. You can see the list over here: peanuts, tree nuts, sesame seeds, egg, soybean, milk, various grains and flours, fish, shellfish, sulfites. Okay, that is 10 ppm limit is there for sulfites. Okay, so these are the basic concerned. You have to mention this on the label that if some person is allergic to any, like, egg, peanut or anything, so you should mention that, and there will be, because every food is not for every consumer, right? If he is allergic, so what are the basic provide safety and wholesome food to the marketplace? The allergen policy should be there: allergen program, risk assessment, formulation control, ingredient management, process control, packaging management, and label control, and employee training. If you are starting the business, okay, so these all the things you have to follow. Okay, allergen risk assessment, just like Maggie. If the lead is found, what are you gonna do? How are you gonna eliminate it? So there is a risk, right? And formulation control. It is for you are getting the correct taste and correct formulation every time. Like, no one is taking decision. If someone, like, what happens in the industry, if there is a small scale industry, or you are just starting off, right? So everyone has their brain, right? If you are employing someone to mix something, so it happens in agriculture also कि थोड़ा और डाल देते हैं, ज़्यादा अच्छा होगा, है ना? But that is wrong. That will affect your final product. So you have to keep a track on that. You have to make a log book for that. This much has been introduced to this batch, or if there is any variation, so you have to record it. Okay, we go through it. So if you are organize big food premises, if you're planning to expand the business, so what are the requirements? Let's see: the location and the surroundings, the layout and the design, equipment and the containers, facilities mean lights, ventilations and everything, operations and controls, management and supervision, food testing facilities, audit documents and records, sanitation and management establishment of premises, Okay, personal hygiene of the food handlers and you and ourselves also, because we are also somewhat going in the industry, right? So food product information and consumer awareness is very important. If consumer awareness is not there, then your sales will be down. If you're opening a food business, so you that consumer should buy it, right? It's not for us, it should be for the consumers. And the training, proper training should be done. है. Location away from the environmental pollutants, smoke or fumes, and everything. Hmm. Okay, so chemical and any biological emissions, it should be eliminated. Layout enable separate and designated area for storing and for production, and the wall of the premises should be tiled at the operational height. Okay, so chiplets of the your paint or does not enter your food, and the flooring should be epoxy if that is cemented, or that is the epoxy should be there. Okay, or the tiling should be there, or flooring should be there. Okay, basically flooring. If in the industry, the epoxy flooring is the main, like it is used. The equipment should be chorus free. That is, should be food grade quality. You can't use metal like iron or rusted thing, right? For your okay. So water supplies, drainage and waste. The drainage should not be there, or it should be covered properly. Okay, the open drainage should not be there. The personal facilities and toilet, air quality, ventilation, lighting should be proper. Potable water, only potable water is used in food industry. Okay, the drinking water basically. Okay, storage tank cleaning should be proper. Air, ventilation, lighting should be proper. Okay, quick light, natural light, ventilation for the natural light. Ventilation is for that if the ventilation is not proper, then microbial growth may occur. That's why it is very important. That is small point, but big uses is there for that. Okay, so procurement of raw material, that should be good, but for the local vendors or with the if you take from the local vendor the piece for the like economic for the economic hike, they introduce the adulteration that should be eliminated. You are responsible for the if you are using adulterated raw material, that is your responsibility to eliminate that particular raw material and get the good thing. Okay, you have to keep a check. If that is a laboratory check or you keep a physical check, that is your responsibility if you are a food business operator. And food processing and packaging distribution services, temperature and time should be noted. Under refrigeration or chill shall be monitored. Care should be taken for defrosted or thawed material is not stored back after opening. Okay, if you're defrosting it, that should be, if you're using anything frozen, so that should be not repacked. Just for the example, if you're making a fruity, so that frozen pulp is used in that. So you can thaw it, you can defrost it, and you can use it in your drink, but you can't store it back. Okay, for the example. And if you are going for the food packaging, material should be stored in a clean containers or clean place. There should be, and it is pest control should be there. Like if chua eats your packaging material and you pack it, you don't see it. So that is not the good regulation. Okay, it happens in the industry. That is the practical examples what I am giving. Okay, you can't stop the you have to do the proper pest control for that. So food distribution, hygiene, sanitary of the your truck, in which what happens in the if you go for the transportation thing, the trucks are not good. Like previously, basically we don't own, like most of the companies owning, big companies are owning their own transport. They are owning their own trucks. But if we are starting the business, we can't, right? That is a so when we are getting a truck from the transporter, so that's our duty to sanitize it, to clean it. Okay, you have to hire the person, clean the truck, then only you load the, if suppose the oil has been transported and you put off your stuff in that, the oil was leaked or something, what happened, your boxes will be destroyed and somewhat it will destroy your product. So that's why it should be sanitize properly, or the proper check has to be done that is good or not. Okay, that is good for transportation of your product or not. Okay, and for the cool things, for the frozen things, you have to use a cold chain also. And for if we talk about the management and supervision, SOPs should be prepared for receiving of raw material, processing, packaging, dispatch, and storage. Because if you are hiring a person, maybe he's not, you have to train that person according to your compliances, right? If you are having the basically bakery industry, so that raw material processing, packaging, dispatch, storage, everything will be different. Or maybe that person is coming from the different industry, or if he is coming from the food industry, maybe he's from the frozen. So you have to train according to your requirement to the particular person. So operation shall be carried out and it shall be easily available. Okay, that should be SOP, should be easy, everyone should understand it. And you should not like only technical point should be there, that the technical point should be in simple language that everyone can understand. Okay, the technical person shall be appointed for the hazard management and other compliance to like for the internal audits and everything. Yeah. So food testing facilities, regular testing in accredited lab, food complaints and retailers, FBO shall arrange for testing from external lab. Now external lab, accredited lab is the that is certified by the food that you can test. It is all the instruments are calibrated and all that stuff. Now external lab, that is a accredited lab by NABL. Okay, NABL lab, that the FSI approved that NABL lab is certified, and that comes under the GLP, good lab practices. Okay, that is certified with the NABL. So auditing, documentation, records, periodic review of GMP and GHP, that is good manufacturing practices and good hygiene practices. So that you have to review that. Okay, review of daily production and sales and raw material. Appropriate records shall be maintained. Okay, if suppose like 1 year back something happened and your products shelf life is 12 suppose 12 months. Okay, and something you produced a product 11 months back and complaint came in 11th month. So how will you find it? So recording should be proper, है ना? You can't say पता नहीं क्या हुआ था और पता नहीं किसने बनाया था यार वो तो छोड़ गया. You can't blame others, so you have to take the responsibility. So proper recording should be there. Let's see what all records you need. Raw material and product receiving, product कहाँ से आया था, processing flow charts and processing temperature and times. If some variation was there, some what happens, the equipment is not working properly, so we use it in the condition what is it in, and with the jugaad or everything. But that should be okay, that's okay. For the economic reason, that's okay, but you have to mention that kya hua tha, like it was down, so we used it, so what was the problem at that time, है if it is affecting your product, then it should be eliminated properly. The process, wait for the equipment to be fit for the use. Or if that equipment is not affecting your product, then you may use it, but you have to get it serviced as soon as possible. Okay, and factory laboratory test reports, pest control reports from the pest control authorities there. Okay, cleaning and housekeeping record should be there. Personal hygiene record should be there. Waste disposal record should be there. Daily sales record should be there. What is going out, and stock register should be what is coming in. So what goes out from the factory, what comes in the factory. Okay, and from where it comes and where it goes. Okay, you should have the record. So this batch number is went off. If you have to do a recall. Okay, so this has been, I have sold this thing to that person, so you should be knowing. Okay, and if he bills another person, so we know that he has sold that thing to that. So if some critical things happen, so we have the recording. Sanitation and management, establishment of the premises, detailed thing. Cleaning chemical should be properly identified. That should be not hazardous. Okay. Frequent cleaning should be there, and every thing should be like recorded. Non-attractive environment for the pest. Okay, what does that mean actually? The sugar, sugar is there, the oil is thing there, or the food you don't clean properly, so pest may occur. Okay, that is normal. So that the cleaning, if cleaning is good, the pest will be lesser. The frequency of pest will be lesser. So that will be economically good for you only. That the proper, if you do the regular pest control, so that you don't have to do basically a emergency like emergency panic should not be there for the pest came and we have to do it right now. The panic, if the panic rates, then it's not good for a business. It if panic comes, cockroaches are here, you have to do that. The factories, that is somewhat affected. The factory production is affected. Okay, when somewhat comes in the main processing line, so that may affect your process. So insects, rotabox are there for pesticide. The fly catchers are there, fly killers are there, insect killers are there, the electronic things are there, right? And for rodents, the rotabox are there, rat traps are there. That is a glue traps. Okay, the food should be stored in pest-proof containers. Okay, personal hygiene. Everyone is aware of. We are doing it from the since we were in schools. Okay, the checkup should be proper, and a health checkups, vaccinations, or if someone is not well, so he should be removed from the line. Okay, clean clothes, protected clothing, frequent head washing, trimmed hair and nails. Avoid smoking, spitting, and sneaking. Do not eat, drink in the process area. Avoid certain habits. Knocking on your nose, running fingers through hairs. Okay, it happens, right? Someone has the habit of doing that. So you should be scratching your body. That's the main concern in the food industry. So that happens. So what should be on your product? So that is the main concern. Everyone knows, everyone is a good food technologist. Everyone are aware of what should be there and what should be not. But then also the concern comes to me also being a food technologist in industry. The like food business operators, which are the owners of the company, they don't know the proper compliances. The graphic designer who are making the label, but they are not aware of the compliance. So we have to tell them, or to what are the, or some sort we don't, like we also forget the some things. So that these are the important things. Company logo, the company identification mark should be there. The product description should be there. Like many of the products are like product description are eliminated. Only the brand is the main focus. So that's wrong. Okay. The authenticity seal should be there. Like if you go to the Patanjali product, that is the compliances. That my product is authentic. That is put the Baba Ramdev's photo, that silver thing. The egg mark should be there. And many things are there, like that is my authentic thing. So that if you are starting up, you are just starting up, so just eliminate that. But in the future, if you are expanding your business, that is a low costing, not big cost is there, but that makes authenticity to your product. If you go for the ghee and stuff, on every product you see that. Okay. Now, veg and non-veg logo in nutritional information, you go to the lab, get it checked or check it yourself. But for the certification, you have to take an NABL report for your proximate test. Okay. Now, name and address of the manufacturer, or if you are doing the 3P, so then also the manufacturer and address should be there, and marketed by will be the repacking or like 3P, that wholesaler license should be there with you. Okay, we'll be talking about the licensing also later on. So net quantity should be there and that should be correct. Okay, it happens that is not correct, but it should be correct. Okay, if you don't do all these things, so or you mislead the like you have some other ingredients on your label and something else in your food, you shall be fined. Okay, the penalties are there. You should go through the act. Okay, Food Safety Standards Act 2006 for that. Okay, so lot batch number 2 for the traceability, and date of manufacturing, and the shelf life of, you can mention the shelf life or you can directly mention expiry date, or you mention the best before 6 months or anything like that. Okay, that's depends on your printer or which you are buying. That is not the compulsion, but you have to inform the consumer that my products is only safe for 6 months. Please don't use after that. So if we are talking about food additives are very common in the industry these days. One second. Where were we? Okay. So processing aid or food additives. Appendix A deals with the use of food additives in various foods and prescribed under levels in them. So particular level for particular food is there. It is mentioned in the FSSAI Act. Okay, FSS Act 2006, and the codes are also mentioned in that. You can see it. Okay, now appendix contains 15 tables for different food categories. These are the categories which are mentioned in that. So, for example, bread and biscuits, traditional foods, the murabba, achars, okay, beverages, sharbata is also one of these. If you talk about a traditional thing, food not specified in other tables should follow table 3. Okay, table 4 for edible oils and foods, and everything else is mentioned in the food. It covers most of the things. And if it's not covered in this, then your food comes under proprietary. And proprietary food are different from these food because we are using a particular ingredients for that, which are like a complex food. And the novel food is let's see the difference between proprietary food and novel food. Novel food, for example, the Yakult was not used earlier. Okay, that is a probiotic drink, and that was introduced with the new method. If the method is new, the ingredients are new, that is proprietary food. If that is not made earlier, you are making it with the new ingredients, but the ingredients existence was earlier there. That ingredients were safe for the use. Okay, you are making something from the same ingredients, then it is proprietary food, but the food product is new. And if you are making a novel food has the processing or new method or processing. Okay, the ingredients should be microbes. Maybe microbes are most of the novel food, the microbes are the main ingredients. So you have to certify it from the lab testing, and you have to get like food certification should be taken from the FSSAI itself for the novel food and proprietary food, both the things, that it is safe for the human consumption. Okay. So appendix B, that is the microbial standards, the microbial requirements for seafood, for milk product, for spices, for requirements for other limits therein. Okay. So appendix B is for the microbial standards, and appendix A is for the food additives and the chemical standards, and the limits for the pesticides and everything is also given in the appendix only. The limits for pesticide residue, veterinary drugs, and everything is mentioned in this act. This act is a Bible for you if you are opening an industry, or you are going in the industry, you are working in the industry, or you are expanding the business from the small scale to larger, if you are going into the larger capacity. So these points are to be kept in your mind, and this will be the most beneficial thing if you follow this in your industry, or if you're a small scale industry also, you can introduce these things. If you are start introducing and start adapting these things today, and if you're spending tomorrow, so expansion will be good enough, because you have trained your employees on the earlier stages, so they will be like they it will be easy to adapt for them, for the standards, like how it works. And you can go for the pilot thing, and then you can go for that. And if you talk about if you want to start a business, है ना? If you what things you require. So this is the food safety compliance system of India. Okay, so this is the FSSAI, Food Safety and Standard Authority of India. It is regulated by this, and the ministry. It is the FSSAI is under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Okay, that is Government of India. Okay, so if you are confused and what should I do, and after seeing this also, some people will forget this presentation and forget my points. So what you have to do? So you can see this thing. Let's me highlight the thing for you to understand. That is a thing you can. 1 second, maybe you can. 1 second. Okay, so view all we all standardize products. So you can type in here and see your product. So that will be like if you're confused and you want to or produce a product, you want to do new product development, and maybe that may be standardized. If you go for and if you can go for the IS also for the food safety Indian standards. Okay, BIS is the Bureau of Indian Standards. You can go for that standards also, and you can consult FSAI standards also. That's both are good enough, because somewhat FSAI also take reference from IS. Okay, and type in the standard program if you are making namkeen or anything like that, papad. That are already standardized. Okay, you can go for the limits and the traditional foods. And we have already talked about that thing, and the eligibility of the food business. So you can see the eligibility criteria, but we will be talking about that also. So for opening a food business, you need a food license, okay, or a registration. Okay, so what you can see this flow chart, I will be explaining this. So creation of the user ID, you will log in business. Okay, you will make a ID, start a new application, select the kind of your business, and what is the kind of your business, and filing for form A is for the registration, form B is for your license. That will automatically come if you enter this. Your capacity and everything is automated now. It is very good program, which like very good uh, step from FSSI. They made it so simple for us to understand everything and to get a license. Okay, so basic details you have to put in the forms. That is basic details, your equipment details. If you are taking the license, okay, the basic your equipment, the layout of your premises that you have already did. That you have to submit it to them and upload a self-attested documentation and acceptance letter of declaration that I agree for the all my information is correct. Okay, everyone asks for that. Okay, and submission of your fee. And now we will be talking about the fees and eligibility for your licenses. So if you are going for the registration, the turnover, if we talk about the eligibility according to the turnover, so that is 12 lakhs per annum up to 12 lakhs, right? You can go for the registration, or up to 100 kg or liter per day. You can go for the registration thing. If you are starting up a business in your town, you just want to test your business, you can have a registration. Okay, if you are starting your 2 or 3 friends want to merge up and start a business at an earlier stage for a trial, or want to open up any small cafe for the testing your product, or a bakery, so you can go for the registration if your turnover is less than 12 lakhs. Okay, and you don't need GST for this also, because your sales, your turnover will be less than 20 lakhs. So for the GST requirement also, the 20 lakhs is the basic है ना, requirement. So you can sell it around you for the for starting up your business. Okay. Now state license. The turnover more than rupees 12 lakhs and up to is 20 crores. That will be state license will do for that. Now there are two licenses in state according to the fee. For the registration, 100 is rupees fee, and for this is for the state license 101 kgs to 1 mt, 1 metric ton, that is 1000 kg, okay, per day, and 1 metric ton to 2 metric ton per day, it is 5000 rupees, and for one till up to 1 mt, that is 3000 rupees. For central license, the turnover more than rupees 220 crores per annum, and that is more than 2 mt up to the limit you can. That is 7500 for your central license. That is a fee. Okay, and all the systems are online. Everything is online, and you don't have to get a GST if you're starting up a business for turnover up to. And if you're going up upon that, hello. Hello. So these are the basic details which is needed compliances. So hello, Varsha ma'am.
Yes, sir. You may
So
continue.
these are the basic details which is. So these are the basic details needed to start up the business and follow the compliances. It will benefit your business if you are doing that, and that if you take the certifications, that may increase the trust with your
Yes,
customers.
sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for your presence over here and giving this wonderful information to our students. This might be fruitful for all of them. And as students keeps asking me in class that, ma'am, what are the standards? What are the FSSI standards? What are FOSTAC certifications? And what we need to establish a business. So I know now with this fruitful information, they have an idea how to start their own business. So thank you so much, sir, for giving your presence over here.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
So we might end the session over here. Thank you, sir. Thank you again.
Oh, thanks.